Martin said, you just saw a preview of the next 4 years. We fought back against Gates and we won. Trump's dealing with very small margins in Congress, and we will block a lot when we get loud enough. Buckle up, stay focused. Let's get to work. LFG. Learn what that meant during the campaign. Yeah. So Matt Gaetz just pulled his nomination for AG. See what happens when we don't surrender? Our pressure got to him. Keep it up for these other hacks Trump nominated. Fight back. Just reading thoughts from the Twitters and the threads. MAGA learned a lesson today on how little their margin is. Not a mandate. So you can't have every hack you want to run the government. Gaetz, your favorite, got crushed and we're just getting started. Oh, I loved all the sneery cat turdy tweets. Like, oh, get used to it, Liberal. Matt Gaetz going to be your new AG. Ha ha! We have a scout! Our friends at Midas Touch. Gaetz backing out of running for AG is a big sign that even in this new Trump era, your voice matters. When you see injustice or corruption, do not let anyone silence you. Get loud, make noise. We won't win every battle or even most, but you won't win any if you don't try. Thank you! I'm going to swing that scalp around all day long. Doesn't it just tell you, though, that he's a bumbling, incompetent idiot. Mm-hmm. He's the great and powerful Oz. Is not. Oh, my God. Right? It's like this, all this, like, overconfidence that we have a mandate and we're going to shove anybody in we want to. Right? It's just, there is a line still. Mm-hmm. That's why I'm wearing my justice shirt. We have a sliver of justice. We'll talk to Glenn Kirschener.
Thank you, Mitch McConnell.
Uh-huh. I mean, who knows which part of the dam? It's right after. Right,
Grassley too.
They were about to release the report. Yeah. It's obviously damaging AF.
Of course.
It was right there when they were going to release the report, which they still should do, or someone should leak it.
Chuck Grassley was asking for it for the Senate before Matt Gaetz pulled away.
Right, and then I think CNN was reporting about the
threesome.
Sex twice with the same high school girl.
CNN was about ready to break the story about the threesome with the 17-year-old girl.
Oh, God. Okay. I don't know which story is which, but the one girl he had. Okay. All right. I loved it. This is. By the way, they say we're in a bubble and out of touch. Matt Gaetz said, I had excellent meetings with senators yesterday. I appreciate their thoughtful feedback, which I'm guessing was off. And then when you get to the top of Off Mountain, just keep, off into infinity.
And we know where that's from.
Right. That's from Grace and Frankie.
Thank you. No, that's Shut Up Mountain. I made my own mountain.
Oh, you did?
Off Mountain is different than Shut Up Mountain.
But it's part of the same mountain range.
Hers is S the F off mountain. Yours was just F off mountain.
Someone said that Cher was saying that line somewhere.
She said that on Good Morning America. She dropped an F-bomb 2 days ago. Okay. She's promoting her new book.
Yeah.
Was it for Moonlighting or...
What?
Come back to the Five and Dime, Jimmy Dean. I don't...
Moonlighting? She wasn't in Moonlighting.
What do you call it? Moonstruck. You know what I mean. Hang on, I'm getting to Matt Gaetz.
Sybil Shepherd.
Yeah.
Matt, Rapey McForehead said yesterday, while the momentum was strong...
No.
Yes, it was. Just toward the cliff for you. It's clear my confirmation was literally becoming a distraction to the critical work of the Trump Vance transition, which is getting other rapists confirmed instead of him. So they're on to their next... Can I just say about Pete Hegseth, Jody, does it take a woman or to go? You don't go to a hospital and get a rape kit administered if you haven't been raped.
No.
What woman would do that?
You wouldn't.
Okay. Where was I?
Because you don't want to go through that.
Yeah. Thank you. I mean, it's just common sense. It's okay. All right. So where am I? Oh, on to the next horrible pick. Pam Bondi, who's equally as corrupt.
But qualified.
But she's qualified.
But a hot blonde. She's qualified to be a corrupt crook, is what she's qualified. She's an election denier. She took a bribe to not prosecute Trump University, and she let Epstein slide. She is as crooky as the rest of them.
But she's run a major
I don't care,
attorney
Chris.
general's
I don't want
office.
your both sides bolt. Listen, Morning Joe, we're not doing both sides. Do it bolt here.
She's going to get confirmed.
She also wants to weaponize the DOJ.
Yeah, of course she does. Of course she does. So can I just say, this is fairly epic, even for the television business. Morning Joe's ratings have dropped like 40, 50, I can't remember, in some demos, 60% since Monday.
Yeah.
What did I say Monday morning when I came out here? I do not know. And then Mika did podcast to
and
try to
complained
further
about it.
like, oh, we're scared. People are scared. Yes, a lot of us are scared. Mark Elias tweeted about it. He said it's what you do when you're scared. It's not. I mean, they just can't spin this. The people have just like
They've made me move over to Casey Hunt at CNN, and I can't stand Casey Hunt.
wow,
So,
wow,
yeah. Ugh.
wow. No, I flipped to. I'm their core demographic. I'm not at all surprised. I don't know what they were thinking.
They weren't.
That this was going to somehow.
Even Don Jr. is making fun of them.
Oh my
Yes,
God! Of
yeah.
course, Don Jr.'s mocking them. Get everyone from Nikki Haley to Megyn Kelly to Fox News. Like, you didn't see this coming. That's what I think. Someone said that Mika said she was surprised. Really?
Really?
You've been calling him Hitler up to 3 days ago, and you go to. I mean. Yeah, Trump Jr. said he was asked, why did your father take the meeting? Like, why throw Joe and Mika a lifeline? Don Jr. said, I think my father always wants to hear from all sides.
No.
What?
No.
When did that?
No.
And we've always been at war with East Asia, I'm going to guess. By the way, is nobody reporting on the fact that he clearly was spreading coke on his gums on
The other
camera?
day, yeah.
He was in his pocket. He was doing this. Okay. I guess we're not going to report on gummies.
Maybe there was some parsley in his teeth.
No.
Somebody tweeted, if there was an investigative journalist out there, we would know who Don Jr.'s coke dealer is right now. Mm-hmm. Let's get going. Come on. Okay. Let's see. So Don Koki said, I think MSNBC deserves to go the way of the dinosaur, as they've proven that these are not impartial people. They're not speaking news. They're purely propagandists. Did he say
That's
this on
funny.
Fox News?
That's funny.
Did he say that on
Yeah,
Fox
he
News?
did.
Okay. I think it was noble of him.
I just think I'm gonna barf.
Do you think the only time Donald Trump's ever been called noble by anybody for any? Okay. He said it's good to see. Hang on, I'm just going to hypnotize myself. It's good to see at least one person magnanimous in all this.
What?
After Donald Trump, noble
yeah.
and magnanimous.
Mhm. Yeah, he's known
You
for
know how
that.
we've always said that.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
After this last 9 years of constant, barrage of attacks. Oh, I see. Well, thank God Donald Trump has never engaged in a barrage of attacks of any kind. He's been always noble and magnanimous.
I just think I'm gonna barf.
Okay. Chris, you said it yesterday.
Uh-oh. Am I in trouble?
No. No, just we were talking, as a high-powered radio executive, high-powered media executive, Chris Lavoie,
Yeah.
as you're referred to.
Yeah, with a backwards baseball hat because I need a haircut and I can't.
Just trying to not make people feel bad about themselves. That you're a man of the people.
Yeah, right. Oh, God.
No, but it's just, you know how this works. They're the anchor. They're the morning show, like we are. They're dragging down the whole network.
Yes, they are.
I mean...
Well, what's that reporting that I was seeing this morning that Rachel Maddow is taking a major pay
Yes,
cut?
we may have to do a fundraiser.
Can I have whatever she's not getting?
Yeah.
She's taking $25 million. Can I just say, I will work one night for way less, MSNBC. Like, I'd do it for $20 million. Yeah, she's
I'd
taking
do it for $1 million.
$25 million instead of $30 million. Pardon?
I'd do it for 100,000. What are you talking about?
I would too.
I would do it. You don't even have to hit six figures for us. We'd still be doing better. Yeah, well, she's so, and by the way, there's, first of all, because I know that's what we're saying, is like this is the worst possible timing because Comcast is selling them.
Yep.
And as you were saying, Chris, like, you want them to not go liberal now? Like, that'll be another huge gift, Joe and Mika, that you blow up the brand to the degree now
then
that you have
MSNBC
to
really
have,
starts from zero.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You have to have a strong liberal counterpoint out there. And it is not the same as Fox News. It is not propaganda.
Right.
It, of course, has a point of view, but Rachel Maddow doesn't lie. They correct things if they get things wrong.
But just from a business standpoint,
Yeah.
they have spent years and years and years and years building up this
Yeah,
loyal
this brand.
audience.
But-
And now they're completely blowing it up.
Yeah, well, and I gotta say, so she did this contract for the next 5 years, so that tells me they're not going to, that they're obviously going
they'd
to
have
keep
to pay her.
MSNBC. But
Yeah.
I'm telling you, they should make changes. I mean,
Yeah.
people scream about the same people. Thank God, Andrea Mitchell is.
Retiring,
is
yeah.
retiring. But this is, why don't they look at like what we kept saying? Like Lawrence O'Donnell was the only one whose ratings went up because he wasn't beating up on Joe Biden and trying to push him out of the race. Like it's just, they have such great talent there. Rachel, obviously, Joy, Nicole Wallace. But yeah, they were saying this story is saying that tent poles, along with Maddow, MSNBC relies on 3 other personalities to keep Nicole Wallace, and then they said Morning Joe. And I'm telling you, you can't have a morning show that is dragging down the entire. Chris, I'm saying there's still time to correct your egregious error of 15 years ago and put the Stephanie Miller Show in where Morning Joe was, and we will do it for a shiny penny.
Well, I mean,
all right, a little bit more, but
maybe approaching 6 figures would help.
yeah, that'd help. Just could we have gas money?
Yeah.
It's not. It's New York now.
Yeah.
It's not New Jersey. You know what? They'll probably have to go back to Secaucus now.
Yeah.
Because they won't be NBC News, so we won't even get 30 Rock. We'll have to go back to that same parking lot in Secaucus where we started, Chris.
Here's a parking lot in Secaucus on a Metro card. Good luck.
That's just our luck. You get out of the basement. Welcome to Secaucus. Secaucus? Wait a minute. I thought we 30 Rock. Wait, no? Okay.
And not even like downtown Secaucus. It was like
right out off the what is it called? It's not a freeway.
It was a turnpike, New Jersey Turnpike.
Oh, the turnpike.
There's a major road that like cut us off from the rest of civilization.
Yes. Yes, viewers can still expect to see plenty of Maddow. Good. One executive called her ratings Viagra. I've been called that too. It's weird that the lesbians are all the erectile dysfunctional medicine.
And she's good for...
Maybe our ads. Remember our ads used to be making men rise in the morning?
Yeah.
Stephanie Miller Show?
Well, you didn't choose that.
I did not choose that.
And Rachel is a tent pole 1 day a week.
Right.
Yeah. No, I know. I mean, well, she's going to be on, I guess, a lot more.
Yeah,
during
they're going to start
breaking
bringing her
news
in
and
more
blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
But yeah, this is extraordinary. Ratings have dropped 40% across the entire network. They're saying execs are counting on viewers to come back the way they did in 2016 once Trump's administration gets underway. Not with apologists like Joe and Mika, sorry, but with people that are going to fight. Yeah, I mean, there's so many. I mean, so many people have written pieces about it because I think it's a larger. Our friend Jeff Tiedrich, I'll read a little bit of the reaction because Chris, like I had Joe and Mika on.
Sure,
they've obviously I thought been speaking truth and been with us in a good fight for the last few years, but it just
they were just in it for ratings. That's all.
Well, except this is the exact opposite of
that
what they
wasn't
need
gonna.
to get
was
ratings.
A dumb choice.
Right. Well, I mean, for the past 4 or 8 years, they've just been in it for the ratings.
Right. I got over Jody would never get over mad. She's a middle child. She's a Capricorn.
And
She's Irish.
Yeah.
I got over my 2016 mad about Joe and Mika. Now I'm back to. Now I'm re-angry. Now I'm done.
Well, when we were at MSNBC, he was still considered right wing with Scarborough Country.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So,
I mean, and
All his ratings weren't good.
Well, I know his ratings were actually not that bad.
No, his evening show got canceled because his ratings were so bad.
Yeah.
So they gave him the morning show instead
That
of.
makes total business sense.
Well, they had to pay him out probably.
Yes, they remember Dan Abrams told us that. He said they have to pay off his contract no matter what. So
we
we're going to
must-
try him in the morning.
It's like Drew Carey's last season.
I'm
He
like,
had to
wait,
be paid or they would.
How does this work? You have an hour show that bombs in the ratings and gets canceled, and then they give you 3 hours of prime time in the morning? That'll teach them. I'm in a mood this morning.
You are.
All right.
You need a weekend.
Yes, I do. I was telling Jody, it's like back to COVID for me. I'm alone like all the time.
Yeah, you have your Major Taylor bike crew.
Yes, that's true. I have a bike ride and a brunch tomorrow. I'm going to see my friends today.
Oh.
Bonnie and Clyde. Okay, 21 minutes after the hour of this sport. Good morning, Carl Frisch. Hi.
Good morning. Of all the introductions I've ever received, that is certainly one of them. Everything old is new again.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. The point is you've been doing politics long enough to know that that's all we're trying to do, in terms of trying to calm people, as scared as a lot of us are, is that we've been here before. We've lost in landslides, people, backlash back and forth. Sometimes voters' choices don't make much sense. We're talking about all these instant regrets being reported everywhere that people just were not paying attention, didn't realize what they voted for. I mean, but it is sort of shocking. Places that just endorsed Trump 3 weeks ago, like the New York Post, going, what? Huh? Matt Gaetz and and Tulsi Gabbard? No. It's like, what did you think he was going to do? Right?
They thought after watching his first term and what's happened since then, that surely he'll surround himself with some grown-ups. I don't think that they've been paying attention to who exactly they've been talking about. But you're right. We have been here before. I think it's good that we're now talking about how this is not a landslide. Mm-hmm. This is not a landslide, right? And the only way we're going to get through this is by ensuring that we're ready for the fight ahead and that we have each other's backs. And so I think it's important that we keep our eye on the ball here, which is holding this administration accountable for the next 2 years so that we can get a new Congress in there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and, nobody's better aware of that than you, is that, we're going to have to take a second to brush ourselves off, but it comes up before you know it, doesn't it, in 2 years? And I'm just telling you, if the regrets are as instant as we're seeing on TV and anecdotally and social media of people going, oh, my God, I didn't realize I had Obamacare. Oh, my God. I mean, we'll talk to Dr. Doom, by the way, about how frightening it is, this whole anti-vax thing. And by the way, that's connected to another thing. Guess what else is causing egg prices? Bird flu. Mm-hmm. It's like all of the issues that, obviously were important during this election, right?
Yeah. And, the elections do have consequences. And we don't need people to admit that they were wrong. We just need them to vote differently.
Yeah.
So give them the space to admit they were wrong by voting differently in the next election, or showing up in the next election when they realize how important it was for them to show up, and they may not have. The congressional majority is going to be closer than it was before this election. Senate's still going to be close. So we've got to make sure that the powers of government that are available to us function the way they're supposed to function.
And meanwhile, again, we're being told, oh, Democrats lost because of, woke, because of culture wars, whatever. And the first thing they do, nothing to do with anything that's going to help any American. It's keeping one person out of the bathroom, like the bullies that they are. I mean, by the way, give me Jim McGovern on that real quick.
My friends on the other side, they want to blame trans people. Guess what? Trans people aren't the ones raising people's grocery prices.
Thank you.
Big corporations are. They want to blame immigrants. And here's the deal. Immigrants aren't the ones denying health insurance claims, Mr. Speaker. It's the billion-dollar insurance companies that do that on a daily basis. And they want to blame woke this and woke that. What's woke about thinking special interests should not be able to buy tax breaks?
Yeah. By the way, Frank Conniff, who's so funny, but I think the absurdity of all this, Carl, he said trans bathrooms on Capitol Hill are banned because Republican legislators don't want to be distracted from the important task of making everyone safer by enabling a statutory rapist and a sex trafficker to become the #1 law enforcement official in the country. I mean, the hypocrisy, that I don't know what else you want to call it. It's just stunning, isn't it?
I just want to call it republicanism.
Yeah.
That's what I want to call it.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're left with. That is the new definition. And I have the utmost respect for Sarah McBride. I've known her for a very, very, very long time. And she's going to be a tremendous lawmaker. And she's handling this with all the grace that I expect her to handle it with. And I know it can't be easy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, like I was saying, at the top of the show, Carl, the Help movie just came to me. I just wow, this is exactly what discrimination and segregation looks like. Welcome morning, Joe viewers. Nice to see you again. By the way, on the Trump is not the great and powerful Oz. I was saying, not only did he say, Rick Scott, that's my man. They were like, no, Matt Gaetz, that's the guy. They were like, that's right. This is only 2 weeks ago, the election, 2.5, whatever. And what was I just thinking? What's the other one? Oh, did you hear him like 2 days ago? He's like, no recess appointments, judicial appointments. It's like, what? You're not president.
Shut the up, Donnie.
Right?
Oh yeah, he's trying to. He wants the Senate to not to
He's like,
confirm
who
more
do you really?
appointments, yeah.
No judicial appointments. I'm like, you just wait, Mango Mussolini. You're not even in yet. Okay. Okay. Yeah, this was, I was mentioning Mika on the Daily Beast podcast. She said, people are really scared. It's one of the reasons we went there. People are really scared about Trump's comments about political adversaries. By the way, don't they look even worse that apparently their main fear was that Matt Gaetz was going to prosecute Joe about the intern or whatever? It's like everybody that is like obeys preemptively is going to look like an idiot. Because do not be scared. Do not let these bullies scare you. Mark Elias said it's okay to be scared. It's what you do that matters. Anticipatory obedience is not the answer, and it only shows weakness to a man who thrives off exploiting it, which he did, of course, in record time. Let's go to Tanya in Ohio. Hey, Tanya.
Hi, Stephanie.
Hi.
I think I might be on a Chris train today.
Uh-oh.
What's
What
up?
happens is
She's on the Chris train
and I
today.
love
Oh. Okay.
Okay, because what it is that they never wanted Gates.
Right.
Gates wanted to get out of Congress because of what's going through. I think that we're getting too happy. They always want
Oh
to
no,
find-
I'm gonna seize every moment of joy, and you will not take it from me, lady. I will take any
But,
small victory.
will I say something? Okay, but Tulsi's not going to make it. I read Project
Hope not.
2025. They got a plan for us. And what it is that we are falling for me, the hokey doke. We got to wait. This is what's going to come in January. I'm waiting for January. I'm not going to let this Chaos Kings run with. I don't even listen to anything anymore but you.
All right. Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's a wise choice.
That's all that matters.
I'm going to have plenty of gastrointestinal. I can't even hold it in until January. My gastrointestinal distress. We shall talk to Glenn Kirschener next. Glenn Kirschener. I wore my Justice
Good
shirt
morning,
for
Steph.
you because in honor of your tweet, fine American that you are, you said Matt Gaetz is out. Now we brace to see who Trump next names a possible attorney general. But to be clear, this is the second loss for Trump after Rick Scott, Trump's pick for Senate Majority Leader, was rejected by Senate Republicans. Thank you. I will take every win we can get, Glenn, and this is why we should not feel powerless, right?
No.
You
No,
know-
and I continue to try to highlight what I call the points of light. Now, there's lots of darkness and there's more darkness to come. But, Steph, there are points of light. And I never in a million years thought I would talk about Senate Republicans being one of those points of light. But, listen, they have twice rejected Donald Trump right out of the blocks. Donald Trump wanted Rick Scott as Senate Majority Leader. They said, "Oh, heck no!" And he came in dead last in a three-man air quotes race. Right then, he puts Matt Gaetz up as Attorney General, and there were behind the scenes, maybe anonymous, maybe off the record, as many as 30 Republican senators who were like, "Oh, heck no!
Oh, hell no!
That's
Yeah.
two direct losses
Yeah.
out of the blocks for Donald
2
Trump.
weeks after the
courtesy of
election.
Senate Republicans, right?
Yeah.
Well, listen, now they've been reelected, so maybe they're less concerned about alienating Donald Trump's base and more concerned about protecting their own dang constituents.
Yeah. Yeah, you said it in this tweet. The light will come again. We're going to Gloria Estefan coming out of the dark. Write it down. It's going to be our new opening in whatever, a couple years, 4
Really?
years, something. Okay, Glenn.
Isn't that a little bit downcast?
let's talk about this. Clearly, this report, I'm sure, is damaging AF. Or they would have released it. I mean, clearly it was either about to be released. Scott Dworkin said someone still needs to leak the Gates report so we can see every hideous thing Republicans tried to cover up. I mean, talk about egg on your face. Very expensive eggs.
Very
Yeah.
expensive eggs.
That, they went to bat for, alleged sex trafficker rapist. Like, they went to bat for him,
Yeah.
Right. So your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I hope we see the report, too, because it's kind of a little bit of governmental insanity that you have an institution of government that has all of this allegedly damning evidence about misconduct by a member of Congress who was nominated to be AG, who may very well land in a position in the Trump administration in the future. And yet the House of Representatives is going to bury that from the American people and continue to pull the wool over the eyes of the American people about one of their own government officials and why he's disqualified from, serving anybody and being installed in any position. That, to me, is just like governmental obscenity.
Yeah. Yeah, no, agreed. And can I just say, as you know, I got off the Merrick Garland train quite some time ago. But our friend Dino Badala said, as you hear all the evidence about Matt Gaetz and ask why wasn't Gaetz criminally charged by the DOJ, the answer is Merrick Garland. Again, Garland is the worst AG in our lifetime. John Fugelsang said Matt Gaetz has now removed more criminal insurrectionists from Congress in one day than Merrick Garland did in 4 years. I've heard all the. I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt as long as I could, but oh my God, the fact that he prosecuted Hunter Biden for stuff people never get prosecuted for, and I don't know. I understand. I've heard the things like witnesses, but as you always say, Glenn, in a criminal trial, it's not generally Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts that testify against crooks, right?
Yeah. It actually, looking back, does feel like there were political calculations potentially going on. I'm not going to accuse the Department of Justice of that, but when we look back in recent years, Steph, they prosecuted Democrat Senator Bob Menendez, the Democrat son of a Democrat President Hunter Biden. They've indicted Democrat Representative Henry Cuellar out in Texas. They indicted a Democrat mayor of New York City. And yet how many Republicans, including those Republicans who asked for pardons because they knew they'd committed crimes on and around January 6th, and they wanted to get away with those crimes. How many Republicans have been held accountable for their crimes? Matt Gaetz, for example, very few, maybe George Santos. Yeah. So it doesn't, it actually, when you look at it as a whole, it does look political. It looks wrong. It just looks wrong.
Yeah. I mean, I know I've heard, maybe they couldn't prove he didn't know she was, underage but I'm like, man, we just said, with all the evidence we've seen, I'm like, man, seems
And
like
Steph, with sworn
Yeah.
testimony from both the victim and an eyewitness
Yeah.
to the underage sex,
Yeah.
and hard evidence records, payment records, Venmo records, $10,000 paying pretty transparently
Yeah.
for sex. Really, we don't have enough evidence to indict him for that?
And, and here's the thing. I understand that it's not Merrick Garland alone, but the fact that somebody who tried to overthrow the United States government and stole our nuclear secrets is about to get the nuclear codes again. I'm sorry. It is just astounding. So do you have Pam Bondi? So let's move on to the next horror. Speaking of Mark Hamill, let's move on to the next seat in the Star Wars bar scene. Oh, hi, Pam Bondi. Yeah, here she is.
Something else that's going to happen, Sean, is when Republicans take back the White House, and we will be back in there in 18 months or less, you know what's going to happen? The Department of Justice, the prosecutors will be prosecuted, the bad ones. The investigators will be investigated because the deep state, last term for President Trump, they were hiding in the shadows. But now they have a spotlight on them, and they can all be investigated, and the House needs to be cleaned out because now we know who most of them are. There's a record of it, and we can clean house next term, and that's what has to happen.
I mean, same marching orders, right? She'll do the same thing Gates would have done, just without being as rapey, I guess. But Matt McDermott tweeted...
That shows how low the bar is.
Mm-hmm. Matt tweeted, there's significant evidence suggests when Pam Bondi was Attorney General of California, she was bribed by Donald Trump to avoid an investigation into fraud at Trump University. I mean, no kidding, right? Let Epstein slide. Like, where else do we start here, right?
Yeah, I agree with Senator-elect Adam Schiff. There's going to need to be a robust investigation in anticipation of the confirmation hearings. And then they're going to have to grill her on all of those statements that, an example is the one you just played. It's so corrosive to the men and women of law enforcement. If they know, Steph, that once they're given an assignment to investigate suspected crime, if they know that when the next administration comes in, they're going to go after the folks who were assigned that investigation in good faith based on the evidence. I never experienced that in my 30 years as a federal prosecutor. If I got an assignment, never once did I think, well, if I carry out this righteous, lawful assignment, I may be persecuted by the incoming administration. Wouldn't that make all government, agents and officers and prosecutors think twice about whether they want to do that work? So when she makes statements like that, man, the senators are going to have to grill her during the confirmation hearings. And yes, I was anxious to see after Matt Gaetz dropped out, which I said from minute one he was never going to be confirmed. Who would come next? Because when Matt Whitaker was acting attorney general for a cup of coffee, we're like, who's coming next? And it was Bill Barr. We went from bad to worse.
Yeah.
I only hope we haven't gone from bad to worse here.
Yeah, we only have frying pan and fire. There's no other settings. Glenn, here's the thing. We always talk about alpha liberals like you, and that, we don't have to, I disagree. We don't have to lie or cheat or spread hate or fear like Republicans do, because then we're them. But we do have to learn how to fight differently, I think. So, Joe Biden, obviously, just clearly one of the nicest men in the world. He's an institutionalist, but I've heard people talk about he should issue preemptive pardons so that, for instance, the J6 committee, our friend Adam Schiff, who you just sat with 2 weeks ago out here on our panel, Liz Cheney. I mean, whatever if he could do FBI background checks on Trump's nominees now, that it's the safety and security of the American people. Do you feel like President Biden will do any of that? I mean, he's probably not going to pardon his son, but it just, I just
this is a tough box for people to be in, Steph, because the Supreme Court said a pardon carries with it an imputation of guilt, and accepting a pardon is some confession of guilt.
Right.
If people know they did nothing wrong, they're between a rock and a hard place. Do I accept the pardon, which the Supreme Court says makes me look guilty and is some confession of guilt that I did something wrong? Or do I stand on the fact that I did nothing wrong and suffer baseless investigations, vindictive prosecutions against me, knowing I should never be convicted because there's no evidence of crime? That's a tough place to be in. I don't think I would accept the pardon.
Yeah.
I don't think
so.
Because
They'll try to
haven't done
bankrupt
anything
people
wrong.
instead.
So
That's
you
it.
know what?
Yeah.
You want to vindictively come after me? Give it your best shot.
Yeah. You're going to call them.
That's where a lot of people will fall out.
You're going to call them sport, aren't you?
I am going to call them sport. Yeah.
Give you your best shot sport. You threaded Trump lawyer tells New York judge Constitution mandates dismissal of Trump's 34 guilty verdicts. The trouble is that is not true. I mean, oh my God, is it a Minority Report? What movie am I thinking? Can you just go back and can you just erase and say these crimes never happened? That when he was convicted by a jury of his peers?
Steph, when you're a defense attorney, make aggressive arguments, make them vigorously, represent your client zealously. That's what the Constitution requires you to do. But don't make false, baseless arguments. Don't say the Constitution demands or requires dismissal of these guilty verdicts, because it doesn't. And even worse, Steph, his lawyers followed that up with, and the Presidential Transition Act of 1963 requires dismissal of these charges. It has nothing to do with criminal cases or convictions of former presidents. That's like Donald Trump saying, the Presidential Records Act lets me steal all of our nation's most closely guarded secrets. I'm not used to hearing that from lawyers, which is what is so disheartening, because some of these lawyers, Steph, are now going to be high DOJ officials. And I hope guys like Todd Blanche and Emil Bove and John Sauer understand that they will be representing the American people. They will no longer be representing the interests of their former client, the criminal Donald Trump.
Let's end on a sliver of justice. What was the headline yesterday? Rudy Giuliani fights to keep his refrigerator.
Uh-huh. Yeah, which is true. It's true.
It's a true statement.
Yeah.
Can I keep the refrigerator magnets? Don't take the banana, please. I like the pineapple.
I want to know what's in the freezer.
Okay. So Rudy Giuliani faces contempt bid as he's caught attacking judge in his defamation case. I mean, these guys all think they're going to get the same pass Trump does, right? So he is continuing to defame Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss and the judge, right, during his podcast or whatever it is. So talk to us about this for a sec.
Yeah, it seems like he continues to ignore and violate all court orders directing him to produce all of his assets and turn them over to Shay Moss and Ruby Freeman, the two Georgia state election workers who he savagely defamed and frankly endangered their lives. And, there's a remedy for this, Steph. It's contempt. Hold him in contempt, put him in a jail cell until he purges the contempt. See, when we hold somebody in contempt for violating court orders, the judge will say, and I'm giving you the keys to the jail cell. All you have to do is abide by my orders. You will thereby purge your contempt and you can walk out. But we have to apply the dang rule of law to him the way it would be applied to us.
Yeah. Dang is an underused word in my opinion.
I totally agree.
Yeah. What's happening in the dang Trump case in New York? What are we facing? Is there a date that the judge makes a ruling on whether he's going to delay the sentencing, or what do you think's happening there?
I think it's December 9 is the next date that is set for Judge Merchan to decide whether he's going to keep moving forward in the case or put it on hold, pause, put a stay in effect, maybe until after Donald Trump leaves office and sentence Donald Trump. Then that is certainly preferable to just dismissing it outright, where accountability will never come.
Yeah. So justice is coming, but we should probably just turn off the engine and wait. We shouldn't leave the motor running for 4 years. But right? Yeah. Okay. All right. We love you, Glenn Kirschener. If you want to see
love you, Steph.
Glenn Kirschener and all his magnificence, sexyliberal.com. Pay-per-view, $20 for a bunch of joy and hope and what's going to help us move forward. Yep. We love you, Glenn. We'll see you next week.
Love you guys. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye. 49 minutes after the hour. This portion. Oh, hello. Good morning, Malcolm Nance. Hello. Malcolm Nance.
Uh-oh.
Malcolm Nance. Hello.
Is he frozen?
Hello.
There
he is.
From
Okay.
Los Angeles.
Hello.
Hello. Go ahead.
Reporting from Cairo.
Oh.
This is Malcolm Nance. Listen, sorry, I hit the mute button. I was sitting here listening to that and thinking, I'm on the other side of the world. I've been having a grand old time decompressing from the disaster. What could Steffi do to get me riled up? And you play this. I can't believe you did it. Well, good God, we're going shouty right out the door.
Yes, we are.
Jeez Louise. Okay, Nikki Haley, as you said, who could have said all of this in advance, didn't, because they're all looking out for their own self-interest and self-importance. She could have called this out before, but the choice of Tulsi Gabbard for Director of National Intelligence is the surrender of the U.S. intelligence community to Moscow. And I'm going to say exactly what I said when I made an assessment about Kash Patel. Here's what's going to happen. She won't be able to eat a thing in that building because people will spit in her lunch. I'm not joking.
Yeah.
She will have to call out for DoorDash, and the DoorDashers will be spitting in it. There is nothing. The community will close ranks. They won't say a word to her. She can't get through the number of cipher locks to determine if what they're telling her is the truth or what they're telling her isn't given what we call a blue dye, which is intelligence in which we know that the user, if they leak it, it will tell U.S. intelligence and the FBI that this person is a spy. She'll have to be suspicious of everything. So if she thinks the deep state is a thing, well, just imagine what the Constitution of the United States is. It's the ultimate deep state. She is being put into a position where she will be able to use all the resources of U.S. intelligence. Granted, it's a management position. It is not an operational position. But you may as well invite Vladimir Putin's director of FSB and the SVR, their clandestine service, to just come over and photocopy what they want out of there. I'm not saying she's a traitor, because the Constitution says to be a traitor, the United States has to be at war. What I am saying is, if war were to ever break out, she'd meet the constitutional definition. So what does that make her? That makes her a asset of a foreign intelligence agency. She was a apologist for Syria when all of us, 300 chemical attacks were documented by the United Nations in Syria, and she went over and was an apologist for the greatest mass murderer. Let me tell you, Netanyahu, Gaddafi have nothing on Bashar al-Assad. Nothing. He's killed over 500,000 of his own people, men, women, and children with chemical weapons over there. He mass murders them. He tortures them in wholesale supermarkets of torture.
So, Malcolm,
like I said, nothing. She's been nominated. That tells you all you need to know about Trump. He's doing this to troll us, and he doesn't care about America.
And by the way, I just said to Dr. Doom, it seems like the find out portion of the around and find out Trump voters is happening incredibly quickly, right? New York Post, who just endorsed Trump, what was that, 2 weeks ago, urges him to dump Tulsi Gabbard and Matt Gaetz, calling them distracting chaos agents. What? He's doing everything he said he was going to do, and all these people are pretending like they're shocked.
It's a chaos agent. He's creating his version of The Apprentice, U.S. government edition, in which people will kill other people based on their crazy ideology. They will compromise the security of our agents. All other intelligence agencies in the world will go black on us. Look, the protection of the United States isn't that we have spies all over the place. It's that we have relationships with other nations who have very, very good spies. And what they're going to say is, the United States is not a serious nation. We're not going to give you anything. Since 1942 or 41, the Five Eyes National Agreement, where these 5 other nations will be our allies and assist us, it will go out the window.
Hello, good morning.
Ron reminds us Trump said most of his nominations last time were terrible because he listened to bad advice from rhinos. But this time he was going to make decisions himself and choose only the best people because now he has it all figured out. Doesn't seem to be going so well so far. How's that going for you, Skippy? That Trumpy Trump. Bye, Rapey McForehead. Hi, Matt in Chicago. Hiya.
Hi, guys. How you doing
Good.
this morning?
Good, go ahead.
So, I mean, I'm going to be quite frank with you. I'm not well.
You're not what?
Since last week, I haven't been able to listen to the show because I'm afraid I'm an Uber driver, and I don't know if my passengers are Trump supporters, and I don't want to get a low-star rating. And then I turn on Morning Joe like I normally do every week, and he's sitting there saying, "Oh, we're gonna play nice." No.
Yeah.
I'm screaming at the TV at 5 o'clock in the morning, screaming no because when I woke my neighbors up, and just please, Joe, I know you listen to this show. You write every executive order you possibly can for the next 2 months.
There you go.
You get everything you ever wanted to get done.
Yeah,
Because
the president.
after this,
That's right.
we're-
The president
we need-
listens every morning because he loves the fart jokes. Hi, President Biden. Oh, I missed your birthday this week. Happy birthday.
Oh.
Yeah, by the way, you're going to way lower rating if you have Morning Joe on in your Uber.
Yep.
Just saying. No, just say no.
Computer says no.
No.
No! No, Stephania! No!
Okay, Rena Shaw, founding member of Republicans for Harris. John Fugelsang for Angela, all coming up on the Big Friday show.
Show and read Trump tweets as the Joker.
Yes.
But
well, after doing
at
the
least
joke,
the Joker had some redeeming qualities.
well, the thing is, after doing it for so long, I recognize really good demented dialogue. And there was a tweet that he did, and someone commented, "This sounds like something the Joker would say while threatening to poison Gotham City's water supply." And I thought, you know what, I should do that. Because, he can't just say Merry Christmas. He has to say, Merry Christmas, even to the losers and communists and Democrat left-wing assholes. Why can't, just say Merry Christmas and stop? We'd be happy with that. But I have a message, I say the force is strong with the Democratic Party. And my message to MAGA is, go force yourself, all right? I like that because it sounds dirty and it's not, and I don't work blue. Hey.
Of course not. If you could devise a campaign that is meant to alienate more segments of the population, Chair Biden, I mean, I was saying, what is J.D. Vance's door-knocking operation? Is he just going to call every woman in America a whore? Hi, you're a C word and your mother's a whore. Thank you. I'm J.D. Vance. Mark, I know you're brave to speak out politically in Hollywood. I know you wish you could have Scott Baio's career, but
or Kevin Sorbo's.
But I mean, talk a little bit about why you've decided, because they always say actors don't want to be political.
Right. Well, the honest truth is that I've always voted. I've always followed politics very closely, but I never publicly expressed how I felt and how I was going to vote. Even in 2016 with Hillary, but this time I felt like I have a responsibility. I mean that it's far more important, because I've had people say, you could hurt your career. I don't care. I mean, this is more important. Who cares if I get a guest spot on The Mandalorian versus a mentally ill person back in the Oval Office? There's no contest. So, I mean, I basically, I don't care. I never block people on Twitter because I don't want to give them the satisfaction of the screenshot that said Mark Hamill blocked you. So I've never blocked anyone. But I was muting people like crazy. And then I looked up at the clock and I said, Mark, you've been muting people for 20 minutes. Now I don't even mute people. I start to scan because obviously there's an equal and opposite reaction from the MAGA crowd. Ooh, do they hate me. Yeah, yay. Lucky for me, I don't care.
And you know why they hate you? Because you're going to help us blow up the Death Star in November.
Yes. Well, I mean, I always urge people, don't turn to the orange side.
So for everyone who said Trump doesn't know what Project 2025 is, he just put a key contributor in charge of this. And Thom was interviewed on 60 Minutes, and he was asked, is there a way to carry out mass deportation without separating families? And he said, of course there is. Families can be deported together.
Yeah. He said, do we have that? Yeah, we have Thom Homan. We do. Who wrote part of Project 2025 that Trump didn't know anything about.
Right.
He's heard things, but he doesn't know anything about. Yeah, here he is.
If you're in the country illegally, you're not off the table. I mean, we were looking for fugitives. There's over 1 million illegal aliens in this country who got due process at great taxpayer expense, were ordered removed by a judge and failed to leave. So they're also a priority. But yeah, I mean, we'll be moving on to those who may not be a criminal, may not be a fugitive, but they enter this country illegally, which is a crime, and they're here illegally, and they are not off the table. I want to be clear on that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's all the Latinos who said, with undocumented relatives who said, he doesn't mean me, he doesn't mean my relatives. Oh, my God. And scene. For America. Unless we listen to this lady, Rena Shaw is the founding member of Republicans for Harris.
Yes.
Founder of Relax. Am I saying that right? Relax Strategies. Hard to relax right now, isn't it, Rena? Good morning.
Good morning to you. You know, I was thinking about that name. I named my company some 12 years ago when I left Capitol Hill. And it's actually a play on my name, which is of Indian ancestry, Reena Lakshmi. And it's like a Marianne. So I took the R-I and the L-A-X, and now people are like, you don't relax ever. And I'm like, no, I'm always in the fight.
Yeah.
Rena, can I just say, I'm so glad to have you on this morning. I think our friend Stephen Beschloss told us about you, but I just heard another discussion this morning beating up on Democrats for what happened and that, they need to go more centrist. How many more Republicans for Harris could there be like you? Do you know what I mean? Like, I wanted to get your take on these analysis because every major and Republican that worked for Trump tried to warn America. Right?
There was a lot of sounding of the alarms, right? And we thought it would work. We thought we could get through to people, particularly on the message of democracy. And then also going a step further for many of us who may be anti-abortion for ourselves. I'm talking conservatives, right? Republicans for Harris, who were supportive of the Harris-Walz ticket, who were supportive of Biden in 2020. For me, I can be anti-abortion for myself. Right. But I can be pro-choice for other women. And so then that just puts me in the pro-choice camp. Right. So going a step further on that, there was a democracy argument, there was a reproductive rights, care and access argument. And essentially what we saw was people were willing to say, you know what, that stuff may matter to me, but some other things matter a little bit more. And I think those other things were obviously the feeling of the economy, the cost of living being very burdensome, and then just geopolitical tensions that weren't there when Trump was in office. And I've been calling it luck, and I've been getting a lot of heat for that because people expect a little bit more from a political strategist. Right. But when I try to tell people it's a duopoly we have here, you can go in and you can write your brother or sister in, but that's not going to do anything. Yeah. I tried with a third party in 2016. I was a top advisor and the chief spokeswoman for Evan McMullin. We ran a 3-month sprint to try to deny Donald Trump the White House in 2016. We failed miserably, but hey, we tried. Yeah. And so in seeing that, I learned a lot more about the system than a lot of people did. And what I saw here was not an acceptance of Trump so much as just a rejection of what the people, again, who went for Trump or who helped Trump with their vote, a rejection of what they felt the Democrats were serving up. So it was always going to be a hard fight. Yeah. But hey, it was a principled fight that those of us who cared took on.
Speaking of third party, Dana Gould said, I'm sure Jill Stein has harsh words for Trump's staunchly anti-Palestinian cabinet picks. We just played Thom Homan. Everybody's been talking about, Latinos that have been interviewed on TV and elsewhere that were literally have undocumented relatives. They're like, oh, well, they don't mean us. I mean, that's one of the other stories is people voting against their self-interests. Again, whether your cause is, what was happening in Gaza, whether you're a Latino. I mean, there's a whole piece today. Here's how Trump's anti-immigrant message broke through with non-white voters. I mean, it is amazing, right? How fear-mongering and dividing can work. Even it says Trump made notable gains with voters of color despite his openly racist and xenophobic campaign messaging. A record 46% of Latinos voted for him, up 14 points from 2020. Asian American support jumped 5 points to 39%. Black support gained only 1 point at 13%. But talk about this a little bit because it's a little, particularly I was just thinking of Asians with his whole Kung flu and China virus. And he has been racist to every single segment of the population.
Every single one. I mean, nobody goes untouched from Trump's, I think, true ire against those who just don't want to support him because they find him problematic, whether personally or policy-wise, right? Because that's what I think it comes down to. Those numbers you just shared, though, tell a story, and a really important one that that makes many of us in the political insider class, which I unfortunately am now after many years, but I can't say I didn't want to be here. I got into politics because I love people, and then when I worked for 2 members on Capitol Hill. I started to see how the system worked. I liked it less and less, but I stayed. Yeah. And so for the insider
I got into radio because I hate everyone. But go ahead. I'm kidding.
I'm not going to lie. I have those days, but I think being in politics requires you to have this sense of eternal optimism. Yeah. And the story that those numbers tell is one that I think the political establishment needs to kind of come to terms with. Yeah. Is that this is all about us versus them. When people put themselves mentally in the camp, because we're all very tribalistic, right? At the end of the day, it's what we are as humans.
This is
this part and I think for the Asian American segment, and so I'm a new American, and that I'm a daughter of immigrants from India and Africa, and I can sort of speak to the attitudes there. I think there's a sense that a lot of these people followed the law. They got in line. They followed the letter of the law almost to a fault. And they feel kind of a sense that something's being taken from them by an entire swath of people that are being let in freely. So the sort of open borders, the porous borders argument that Trump and all his ilk went out with, it resonated because it drove those people further into this mindset that they were wronged because a whole class of people who didn't follow the law were getting benefits.
I get it, but some of them came in illegally in the case of this one Latino family, and some of their relatives are still illegal. They just don't think they mean them. And so, this line in many Latino voters also disconnected from the immigration experience and hold xenophobic ideas themselves. Trump intermingled his xenophobic attacks with his economic message. In every single message, immigrants are taking your jobs, they're coming after you, said one analyst. Inevitably, particularly if you're part of certain ecosystems, you'll start to believe that rhetoric. That's a neat trick, can I just say? To make. And now I keep saying, Rena, we're in the find out in the look around and find out program very quickly. I mean, people that don't realize Obamacare is the Affordable Care Act that they have. This Dr. Oz nomination seen as a potential boon for Medicare privatization. I think many people, it's like comparing it to Brexit. They have no idea what they voted for and what's coming.
I think you're touching on something that I've been thinking about a lot this past week and what's going to happen to our social fabric here. But the reality is so many people felt like our social fabric is already unraveling. We have found ourselves in a moment where we have become even more individualistic. Like, see, our system, our society is set up for us to become so selfish, for us to become so individualistic. But what I see right now is that happening on steroids. People have just started to say, well, my situation matters way more than the person next door. We don't even talk to our neighbors anymore. So it's no surprise that a lot of these same people are going to be touched by and impacted greatly, not just touched by these these policies that they don't even really start to understand. Yeah. That they know they voted for, but don't even realize they fully voted for. Yeah. These people just need to be they need to be met in the face with it for it to sort of get down into their system, for it to really resonate with them how bad it all is. And I hate to say it.
Now, speaking of steroids, Bobby Kennedy.
Come on.
What?
Nothing.
Oh. I mean, first of all, it just shows part of the cowardice and hypocrisy of how we got here. I don't know if you saw this. In audio we recovered from his radio show, he read and praised a description of Trump and his supporters as belligerent idiots, outright Nazis, cowards, and bootlickers. He also compared Trump to Hitler. Right? Which makes him, I mean, it just, but you wrote just a great thread about post-polio syndrome ruined the last years of my late dad's remarkable life. Had he had access to polio vaccines as a child in Uganda, he'd likely be alive today and would have been able to run and play sports with me and my siblings, among so many other things. I mean, and just that this hypocrite, this coward Bobby Kennedy is going to do God knows what, in his thirst for power, right?
Yeah, I think there's just so much that can be said about it. It comes from obviously a political dynasty has been shunned by his own siblings. You can see that it's cowardice on display. RFK Jr. As much as he looks like this strong, independent voice, I saw people when he announced his bid say, they found him refreshing, and I think for me it was always the vaccine stances. I'm like, come on now. You say something like that, you're not in touch with the reality.
So you see refreshing, I see lunatic.
Yeah.
I love someone on Fox trying to defend Matt Gaetz yesterday. It was like, well, she just come out and say, I was a firebrand. I'm like, oh, is that a new word for rapist? 2 years ago, I was a firebrand. Oh, well.
I think that's the problem, though. People found him refreshing because they did not go beneath the surface.
Right.
And we have an electorate that is just genuinely not interested in doing that. And that's why I had to tweet that about my dad. It's like, I can like some of this stuff about RFK Jr. wanting to remove processed and food and additives or whatever. That's cool. I'm a mom. I try to make my granola bars at home. I fail miserably, but every time I go to the store, I'm empowered. I read the ingredient list. But what we're talking about with him is the fact that he openly sits on media and says, no, I didn't say that. They run the clip, and this guy still is like, no, I wasn't a vaccine denier.
Yeah.
So I having him at the helm, even if he's saying that he won't ban any vaccines that are currently available, it's the public health messaging. The fact that he's talking about informed consent, that's going to create such huge problems.
The number of people, including his own vice president, J.D. Vance, Joe and Mika, to Bobby Kennedy now, who have called him Hitler. You cannot walk back calling someone Hitler without being a giant coward that's just wants to be close to power or is afraid of power. By the way, to your point about just healthcare in general, Laura tweeted, did you know that free annual checkups and preventative screenings like mammograms, colonoscopies, and pap smears didn't used to be free? This is part of the Affordable Care Act. Pass it on. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just, I keep saying, Rena, as we come full circle, disinformation was the big, because they didn't win on the truth, on things that were actually Biden-Harris policies. They won on fear-mongering, on lies about the economy, about trans people, about, if you noticed, I don't know, there's apparently all the dogs and cats have been eaten. There are no, because I haven't heard anything else about that now. People eating dogs and cats. The caravans are gone again. It's like magic. Mm-hmm.
You have a sitting senator taking a Facebook post and extrapolating it, making it seem like it's some widespread problem. I mean, that's what J.D. Vance did with that Facebook post about the eating the dogs in Springfield, Ohio. I mean, the woman who posted that has apologized and been like, I'm so sorry. But hey, the can is already open. The monkeys are already out or crawling in, whatever you would call it. I know our viewers can't see it, but I'm wearing these earrings that have a loop of monkeys. And it's because, I mean, that's what Washington is doing. They are monkeying around with our lives. I saw them do it. I mean, just a few years after the Affordable Care Act, not passed, not even a year or two later, they were talking about repeal and replace.
Yeah.
And this was the Affordable Care Act. I was a young staffer, a wee staffer on Capitol Hill, working for Republicans, by the way.
Yeah.
When that whole Affordable Care Act was being crafted and then got passed, obviously landmark legislation that gets the moniker Obamacare, there were Republicans conceding how much it was going to help their own communities. I mean, the talking point at that time was there's no bureaucrat that belongs in the exam room. Look at this about face that the Republican Party has done. It's so hypocritical.
I love the cartoon of the woman in stirrups, and they're like, oh, I see your problem. You have too many Republicans up there. Rena, we welcome all Republicans against Trump as long as you don't go to Mar-a-Lago and kiss the ring. You are welcome back anytime. No groveling. All right.
Thanks, Rena.
Love you. Thanks,
so
Rena.
much.
See you next time.
Okay.
All right. 20 minutes after the hour. everybody. Oh, look, Fine American Walter has written, Steph, as the official Take Back the Media coordinator for the Stephanie Miller Show, I'm announcing a new campaign entitled Make Morning Media Great Again. Oh, my God.
All right.
Of course, this is in response to the very poor Mika and Morning Joe ratings after their Mar-a-Lago ass-kissing trip to the orangutan exhibit. Just remember, everybody, the Stephanie Miller Show is the greatest morning radio show in the history of America. People are saying they've never heard or seen anything like it before.
Well,
a man just yesterday came up to me with tears in his eyes saying, Sir, I've got the perfect place to get my news where both sides don't do it and fart jokes are included. You must listen to the Stephanie Miller Show. This is a true story, Chris.
Okay.
Love you, Mama, Jody, and yes, Chris, even though he's wrong. Bill in Tampa, thank you, Bill. Thank you. Brian Stelter, he said ratings for Morning Joe are getting weaker as the week goes on. This was just Monday morning. I've never seen anything like this. Have you? In TV. This was Monday morning. They announced this ass-kissing trip. He said this is a notable AM drop-off. The whole network is down, obviously, but it's just extraordinary. And I was saying it was their reaction to it. Like, they're saying, like, we're out of touch and in a bubble. Look at your ratings. This is not just a bunch of cranks on social media.
No.
Right? I mean, the fact that he sort of, like, sneered at his viewers by going, oh, this is see out of touch people are. Like, everybody that called me said it was great. It's like, oh, really? All your other rich white friends told you this was great. And it's just... Anyway, Clayton said one small good news, Morning Joe ratings, which were already down, are now down another 40% since they both kissed the ring in Mar-a-Lago.
Boy.
Yeah, I mean, and people have written so much great stuff. I was saying about Mark Elias saying, we're all scared. It's what you do with that, right? As I keep saying, cowardice is contagious and so is courage. Jeff Tiedrich wrote, Morning Joe and Mika disgraced their entire profession. Have I mentioned lately Morning Joe and Indeterminate Time of Day Mika can all the way off?
Oh.
Morning Joe and Indeterminate Mika are going to restart communications with a rapidly dementing narcissistic megalomaniac who has made his life's work to lie straight into the face of everyone. Thank you, Joe and Mika. You've saved the out of democracy. And he says, how does the media keep allowing themselves to get played over and over? Are they all like the protagonist of Memento? Did they all suffer some kind of head trauma that keeps them from forming long-term memories? Thank you. He humiliated them. Were they even gone yet when he tweeted them? Like, humiliating them. Anyway, he quotes a great Roxane Gay piece from the New York Times real quick that I want to talk about. And then John Fugelsang, and then Fridays with Frangela. Hooray! Stephanie Miller Show. Wow. Hi. Good morning.
Hey.
I tweeted a picture of us sex on stage for Sexy Liberal LA yesterday. I said, remember when we were 20 years younger and happier a couple weeks ago?
Two and a half weeks ago. It was amazing times, way back then. But hey, look how far we've come with the mugshot cabinet, huh?
Right.
Oh, we thought comedy was dead. We didn't realize hacks, quacks, and a sex pest nest were waiting for all of us.
I was saying,
driven by spite, experience, slight, rapist, insight, extremely white. The Trump cabinet. Let's do this, people.
John, I keep saying I think we got to take every victory because we're not going to obviously win them all or win even a lot of them. But I just where was this tweet? Hang on, hold please.
Don't worry, it gets better.
But it is. It's like, first of all, it proves that what we already knew. He's a bumbling, incompetent fool. He's not all powerful.
Yes.
His first big nomination, he was barely elected 2 weeks ago, right? And it's just so.
And
this
the
is
Republican Senate is already disobeying him because they don't respect or fear him. We're already there, 2 months before he's sworn in, and it's beautiful. I say to people who are mad that Gates dropped out, please don't feel bad. There's so many more rapists in the sea.
Right.
Gates is so innocent. He resigns Congress to keep the report from coming out after asking for a pardon. Hegseth is so innocent. He paid off the woman who accused him of rape and got her to sign an NDA. RFK Jr. is so innocent. He called the babysitter 30 years later to apologize.
My God.
Once he was running for president. And Trump is so innocent, only 26 women have said he did to them what he brags on tape he likes to do. My God, people. At least Matt Gaetz still has friends in prison. Maybe not in Congress anymore, but they love you inside, Matt.
Here is what we take in the resistance. Ron tweeted, the Gates nomination proves yet again what too many Americans forgot between 2020 and 24, that Trump is a bumbling, incompetent fool.
Yes. So stupid. And again, Matt Gaetz has now removed more criminal insurrectionists from Congress in one day
than
Merrick Garland could in 4 years.
I already read your tweet on the air. Thank you. Oh my God, the more evidence that comes out, John. I mean, Gino Madala, our friend, said the same thing. It just points to one thing, is what the F?
And remember this, they didn't cut him loose because he paid a 17-year-old for sex. They cut him loose because too much evidence was coming out proving he paid a 17-year-old.
Yes. Someone else threaded that clearly Gates backed out as a quid pro quo for them not releasing his ethics report. Everything is about what they can get away with. And now all these Republicans are on record as, is fighting for a child sex trafficker.
Yeah, well, release the report. The report still needs to come out. I have to see 200 pictures of Hunter Biden's penis. You can release this report, people. Marjorie Taylor Greene whipped out one of those at me on C-SPAN.
I loved, by the way, I missed it, but you retweeted, someone said International Men's Day, silence, not shocked. And someone else tweeted back, did you think women were going to organize it for you?
Yeah.
I mean, Jody and I keep talking about, John, it's just this whole bro sphere that we're supposed to understand from Rogan or whatever. It's just, it's rapey. And no wonder he's appointed all rapists. It's rapey and creepy and homophobic.
Why aren't you trying harder to understand the bro-dependent, Stephanie? Don't you understand that they all grow up on porn and real women are a real letdown after growing up on porn? And that's why they don't leave the house and date. And that's why they're angry, because the reality doesn't conform to what porn taught them the world should be like. So they're going to punish poor people by voting for Caligula. It makes perfect sense. I don't need a New York Times expose. This is what the bro-dependent culture does. And that's why Matt Gaetz, he'll land somewhere. I mean, he's never gotten a job that didn't involve his daddy making a phone call. But Matt Gaetz will get a job in this administration or somewhere in media.
Which is why...
he paid another guy to let him have sex with a 17-year-old.
Which is why, as you say, the report needs to come out. Covey said that too. Republicans on the House Ethics Committee knew Matt Gaetz had not one but two sexual encounters with a minor, decided to hide that from the American people. And someone else threaded, the best thing about the Gaetz withdrawing, it proves everything was true. But
all true.
Yeah.
And he paid one 18-year-old girl $4,000, paid another 18-year-old girl $6,000. I was so looking forward to Mike Johnson having to defend that, since we're now in the defend child rape phase of his Christianity. But this was always the plan. Get everybody all freaked out at Gates, normalize the badness, and then, oh, look, Pam Bondi is so much less egregious. She'll sail right through. And Pam Bondi, I'm sure you've talked about it, is one of the most crooked state attorneys general in Florida's history.
Yeah.
The one who got Trump off and took a $25,000 bribe. So there's the brilliance, right? They lost Gates, but if you can't have an attorney general you can control through compromise, get an attorney general you already know is easy to bribe. And hey, criminals of the world, our attorney general is very easy to bribe. She will be confirmed.
Yeah. So you guys are all cat owners. I just love because with the whole transphobic bathroom thing this week. I just loved, somebody tweeted, I love how cats just slap the out of everything they don't understand.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
true.
cats are like Republicans. They really are. I apologize to all of you cat
Like
lovers.
libertarians. They're libertarians.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm so precious. I'm so wonderful. Look at me and the world that was created for my beauty. Oh, look. Food magically appeared in front of me, and no one had any say in it but me, because I'm special. Cats are libertarians, and then they lick themselves.
But, I mean, it's just the fact that this is... We're told this entire thing was only about inflation and prices, and really, this is the first thing they get to... Is it laughable, by the way, that Marjorie Taylor Greene is... She's gotten nothing done in Congress, and her first thing is to help the, what is it, Office of Government Efficiency that's run by two people? That now has a congressional committee that Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's never gotten anything done.
Already turning on each other. I mean, look, the Hegseth thing, that was leaked internally from someone in the Trump campaign.
Yeah.
And they went around Susie Wiles. Boris Epstein convinced Donald Trump to go with Gates behind Susie Wiles' back. Boris Epstein is now apparently at war with Elon, and we know having two millionaire-at-birth narcissists in the same room always works out really well. They're already turning on each other, Steph, and the Republican Senate does not respect this guy. I mean, the signs are all there, so... good luck with the pro wrestling lady running education. Oh, I forgot to mention, she's a sex offender adjacent as well. I mean, so's Elon.
Oh,
My God.
yeah. By the way, our friend Noel Kassler said someone should find out where Judge Janine is currently passed out and let her know she's up next. In case Pam Bondi blows up. Someone's got to pick her up. Somebody's got to pick her off the heating grate or off the toilet and just, hey, time for coffee. Come on.
Trump really wanted Matt Gaetz, and now it's Pam Bondi. But if he can't get Pam Bondi, they promised him he can finally name his true first choice for Attorney General, Arnold Palmer's penis. But that's it. That's his number one. That's next on the
Can I
list.
just say my favorite sketch ever from Sexy Liberal Virtual during COVID was me playing Judge Janine. You were Rudy Giuliani, and Frangela was Diamond and Silk.
Yeah, I love that.
And you made me laugh so hard my wig fell off.
Can I defend Joe and Mika for a second?
No.
All right, go ahead. It's so hard to keep a relationship going, and how do you keep it hot? I think it's amazing when couples grovel together. Normally, it's one partner's into humiliation. It's very rare both are into being humiliated together. But I'm not here to kink shame. Whatever works for these two dead inside Republicans to still keep the spark going, let them do it, please.
Listen, my point, John Fugelsang, is MSNBC has a chance to correct their egregious error of 15 years ago when they put Morning Joe in that slot instead of the Stephanie Miller Show. John Fugelsang would be a fantastic MSNBC show. Oh, my God.
Hey.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could be as good. I got to find a partner that I can lick Trump's boots with and say, Jack, this is where we first met.
Why don't we
so little time, so many reeks.
Why don't we just airlift the former cast of Current TV and put them into MSNBC?
Yes. All the great stars from Current, like you and me and Elliot Spitzer, we're ready.
Oh, yeah. He was a part of it, too, wasn't he?
Could you take your organ out for me, please?
Okay.
Jody, how do you come for John Fugelsang?
You don't.
On the Bible?
Never.
Thank you. Okay. I don't. Who's Ron? Ron somebody.
Bro.
Ron said, so you never read what the Lord said about children. You're a hell of a theologian. Thanks for the lesson, LOL. Oh. You said actually the Lord is the leading cause of death for actual children in the Bible, but God, Judaism, the Bible, and Jesus never actually ban abortion or demand punishment for abortion. At no point did they say women, including rape victims, should be forcibly pregnant against their will. God asserts fetus as property in Exodus 21. All right. Thank you.
I could do it all day. God kills every fetus on earth with a flood one time because he was in a...
He was in a
Here,
movie?
God gives Moses abortion tips for pregnant, unfaithful wives in Numbers chapter 5, asserts a fetus as property and a woman's life has more value in Exodus 21. And if these right-wing Gentiles are still maintaining that God puts the lives of innocent children first, let me tell you about Passover. They make this white gun-toting Jesus in their own image.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm not saying you have to believe what's in the Bible as literal fact. I'm saying you don't need to believe it to use the Bible against them because they don't follow what's actually in there. These amoral people use the Bible as camouflage, and we have to be in the camouflage removal business. Don't let them hide behind it. Say, where does your holy book say to be really mean to trans people and chase them out of a bathroom? I mean, it's not there. They want to be cruel, and they want spiritual license to get away with it.
Yeah, absolutely. John, we love you. SexyLiberal.com. You can still experience the joy of the Sexy Liberal LA, which is what it's got the energy that's going to need to carry us through these next 4 years. We love
And I
you.
want to remind everybody now that as of last weekend, Donald Trump has gone below 50% of the popular vote. So you got to remember, folks, he's now had the majority of Americans vote against him 3 times. It was 230,000 votes that decided this over 3 states, 0.15%. He's below 50% in the popular vote. Only Grover Cleveland and William Jennings Bryan and Trump have run for president 3 times and never gotten 50% any time. In a sane country, we would have a runoff. But Kamala Harris now has the 3rd highest vote total of anyone who's ever run for president in this country. 10 million more votes she got than Trump had in 2016, 7 million more than Hillary Clinton had in 2016, 7 million more than Obama in 2012, and 4 million more than Obama in 2008.
Yeah,
This
absolutely.
is not a red wave.
Yeah, and thank you, John. That's not to stay in a liberal bubble or be all happy clappy. We're just stating facts and actual numbers, and do not be demoralized and feel like we're just overwhelmed and, oh my God, we lost in a landslide. Not even close. We love you.
Thank you, guys. Have a great weekend.
Mwah. There he goes, our resistance warrior. By the way, movie Aliens when no one listened to the woman and then everyone died? That's what the vibe feels like right now.
Yeah.
Oh, God!
The chick with the cat.
Yeah, the cat survived.
Yes, the cat did.
Yeah. Bob tweets, do you know what I haven't heard anything about for the last couple weeks? People in Ohio eating cats and dogs. I mean, it was all over the news in November, but now it's like it never happened. Weird, huh? Yeah, mainstream media. I guess they were all eaten. I guess everyone's cats and dogs are eaten. Okay. Ellen says, I know I've heard conservatives say stuff like they just don't understand trans people. And like, okay, here's the thing about common human decency. You don't have to understand someone else's choices to respect them and allow them to have freedom to exist in peace. Thank you. We can't all be as moral as Republicans. Would you like some fun facts?
Sure.
A new report is out from the CDC on the states with the highest rates of STD infections. The top 9 are all Republican states.
Of course.
Yeah.
Chlamydia.
Wow. Wow.
Not surprising.
Okay. Our friend Tristan Snell said Matt Gaetz, speaking of family values once again, Matt Gaetz withdrew his AG because he had something to hide. He resigned from the House because he had something to hide. Matt Gaetz begged Trump for a pardon because he had something to hide. Released the entire Gaetz report. The American people deserve to know. Thank you, Tristan Snell. All right, 58 minutes after the hour, Fridays with Frangela. Next.
Well, we've got this breaking news at this hour on a planned meeting between outgoing President Joe Biden and President-elect Donald Trump. According to the White House, the two men have now agreed to meet in the Oval Office on Wednesday. That meeting comes as Trump and his transition team are rushing to fill key White House positions, and sources tell CNN we could learn some of those names at any moment.
This isn't unprecedented in the United States, but it's super fucked up.
That's a great soundbite right there.
And Trumpism is going to take a long time to defeat. I believe it will be defeated because it is a cult of personality, and they always run out of gas at some point. But we'll see.
Yeah, they do usually flame out because they're so. They constrict, right? So they don't expand. They don't grow their base. This is a decidedly, an intentional choice that they've made. When people like Michael Steele and even Prince Rebus, whatever you say his name, they were all trying. Prince Rebus, whatever. It was not a prince. He's not a prince.
Riboflavin.
Ribbit. No, they were trying to expand the base, and the powers that be were like, no, we want to lean in on this cult of personality thing, and that's where they're at now. And they usually do flame out. The difference is, and I'm a little bit obsessed with reading, now books by Timothy Snyder and stuff about how democracies die and tyranny and of the minority, et cetera. Where you're like, oh, the one fundamental problem here is that the Republican Party has all these levers of power and these ways to cheat, where they found all the cracks and the fissures and the little openings in the democracy that we have that is so fragile to begin with, and no one really seemed to ever want to occupy those spaces or exploit them as much as they do. But they have found it's almost their singular mission, right? Because they know they can't win legitimately because the society has evolved to a point where all societies do, that their hold on power that was based on their birthright, the way they see it, is bound to flame out. But they're like, no, we've got a few other tricks up our sleeve.
Yeah.
And this moment in time also feels a lot like, to your point, it feels a lot like the reaction to the systems towards something better that you were talking about, right? They were like, oh, wait a minute, hold on. They're trying to do things that advance rights for Black people and women.
Wait a minute, we can have a Black president? Wait. Hey, you guys, wait. And of course they would bristle at that. They're like, no, he had Omarosa,
Black friends.
Yes, and they have young Black politicians. They have Byron Donalds, and they have, but in the end, whenever they're talking about they're talking about white people. And it's I don't know that they get it. A lot of them have couched it in religion. A lot of them feel, that he's defending Christianity, which is hilarious to those of us who, like you and me, who grew up, in the New York City area.
Yeah.
No, he's not a Christian. He doesn't go to church. He barely knows any of that. He's made that bargain with evangelicals, and he and I thought actually once they captured the Supreme Court, they'd lose interest in him, but no, they have maintained their interest in him.
Yeah, because now it's a war against wokeness. It's a war against others, and that's the thing that, again, going down those rabbit holes of history and seeing the patterns here, where maybe it doesn't repeat itself, but it certainly does rhyme. Like, that's the key, right? Is in othering and making sure that there's always sort of this enemy or some threat to you that keeps you constantly like, but I need a protector, I need a strong man, I'm scared, I don't understand all this stuff. And that's where they come in. And that's been sort of so elemental to them leaning further into this cult of personality thing. And he's their warrior, which helps them literally vote against their own best interests, but also the thing about religion is so true. They bend themselves into pretzels to believe these things to accommodate their support for this person who embodies all of the 7 deadly sins in one,
one guy. Yeah.
One guy, right? I call him one saggy senile septuagenarian because I love it. I freaking love alliteration. I'm a dork. But like the things that they've had to do, and this were cults and dictatorships in the falls of democracy, they really do overlap, and we're like living it in real time, and it's Donald Trump.
I know. It's just like, you couldn't do better than that, Yeah, it's so funny, it's sad.
Oh, thank God. There was panic in the land when you weren't here
Yeah,
last
there
week.
was.
Ooh, I know people were freaked out. I just had a death in the family. It wasn't a reaction to whatever the heck happened.
I know, and we send you love and all kinds of light. So, by the way, can I just say to Jasmine Crockett's point, we were talking earlier to a strategist about how, Trump was able to fearmonger and divide even among people of, some people of color, Latinos in particular, in terms of, this economic message, to blame everything on some other brown person. And I just thought it was interesting. For all of the scare we heard about black people, like, black people aren't going to vote for, 85% still voted for Kamala Harris. This part of the story, black support for Trump doesn't indicate any sort of realignment. 85% of black voters back Kamala Harris. And it's the thing that I hear all the time is that thank you, black people, for loving a country that didn't love you back, that doesn't love you back in many ways.
No, you know what? This is the thing. And I want to, and back to Jasmine Crockett's point. We as black women have mammied this country. We have raised children. We have wet nursed children that weren't ours. That is how much we have cared for this country out of our bodies, besides the blood that has been spilled. Okay? So at the end of the day, we love this country because the black people, the black culture that lives here, we don't know nothing else. Mm-hmm. We can't, they're really, at the end of the day, this is our country.
Well, and can I just say, this part of the 85% of black voters backed Harris but there was widespread dissatisfaction with the economy under President Joe Biden. I keep saying, not the economy, people's perception of the economy, because of the mainstream media and the right-wing lies and that right-wing. But can I just say, I think it was about 13% supported Trump of black people. It's about the same. So, black people were the only people that didn't fall for the okey doke, frankly.
Thank you. I don't know why we're even talking about the black vote. She gained black voters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. The black voters are not responsible. In fact, they're the only group that isn't responsible for this. Black people overwhelmingly, and exactly as they did before. And then actually black men, they went up. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So who didn't were Latinos. Latino men, young men, especially, of every stripe, Asians. Yeah. And as usual, we're running into the white woman problem.
Thank you.
Of white feminism. And what we mean by white feminist is not you're a feminist who's white. White feminism is a specific form of feminism that focuses on the gains made by white women and it has this sort of trickle down theory of how everybody else gonna get their feminism. Mm-hmm. So I feel like our unwillingness as a nation to look at our original sins and to look at the racism that persists, not shockingly. I mean, the Voting Rights Act, Civil Rights Act, all of which have been gutted, were in the mid-'60s. Mm-hmm. That's my mother, people who are alive went to segregated schools.
Right. Yeah. Well, all I see now is that this country is asking for revolution. It's begging for it. It's, you want to oppress me again so much that you bring this country to a boiling point? Well, come on with it. Come on with it. But let me tell you something. I'm from the west side of Chicago.
Mm-hmm. All day.
All day long.
All day strong.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'm from all of Detroit. And let me tell you something. Yeah. When and where is all I need to know. I know who I'm hitting.
Detroit versus everybody.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Here, this is the thing, though. Until we are willing to stop buying because you're absolutely right, Stephanie, perception of the economy. But the thing about the economy that they're upset about is that they believe that brown and black people are getting money from it.
Yeah.
It's not that they're not getting money from it. It's that they think that money and resources are going to these other populations, which means in theory that there will be less for them. Or that they've actually lost something. And that's not true. And that's not you have a problem with the economy. That's you have a problem with brown and black people. Didn't nobody have a problem with building up the middle class when it was white?
Yeah.
But now that it's brown and black, they're like, well, we don't need all these programs.
No, we can't give them $25,000 to go get a home and have a homestead.
That's not what we meant.
Because that's all this country has ever done. Okay, we used to give land out for free for people to homestead in this country.
But Angela,
when it was white people.
We're told that it was only the price of eggs and nothing to do at all with racism or misogyny, as you know, as we've been told.
Right.
However, I don't save headlines to trigger you.
Oh, no. You would never.
Republican says colored people wouldn't have basketball if not for Abraham Lincoln.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm having some kind of fit.
Yeah.
Are you okay? Oh,
yeah.
Angela, are you? Angela fell. Okay.
Is it because he
I'm
was
having
tall?
a fit. I don't know what it is, but it's some kind of fit.
You know what? I'm going to tell you something. You know what? But this is who we are now.
Yeah.
This is who we are.
No, if you will indulge me, because I know there is no problem with racism or education in this country. It has nothing to do with anything that happened. But a Republican man from Indiana told C-SPAN on Sunday that colored people would not have had basketball if Abraham Lincoln had not abolished slavery. And Rick, his name is Rick. I think we know Rick. We all know Rick, don't we?
Rick.
we know Rick.
Right.
Rick said, number one, he opened with, the Bible says that man is supposed to rule the house and a woman, quote, should just do the cleaning. Oh, I forgot to ask John, is that in the Bible? That women just, okay.
It's under the passage about Swiffers.
And Febreze. I was going to say, it's under
the Psalm of Febreze and Swiffer. It's like right after John.
Okay, again, not saying there's any trouble with educate. Can I just read the actual transcript? He said, but anyway, on the sidebar, ever since Abraham Lincoln got shot and killed, boy, chaos went to heck, went right along with the Democrats. And that's what gets me, is these color people is always saying that Trump's so bad. Can't they think back in their ancestors' times when British and stuff was coming over to them?
British and stuff?
What I don't understand is why the colored people, the Republicans, heck, they were the ones that set them free. Democrats have them in there for slavery. I just don't understand it. If it was for Abraham Lincoln, them guys wouldn't have a basketball game and a football game. Hang on, he's not done. Seriously, on the weather. Huh?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
It's going to get bad in the South, so all the people, Democrats in the South, better repent now because the storm's coming your way.
I think he's going to make an excellent Secretary of the Department of the Interior.
I think so too.
He's exactly
what they're looking
government
for.
needs.
Yep, what they're looking for. That
Okay,
sounds about right.
When there's so much crazy, it shuts you down.
You're right.
It shuts down even the part of you that's mad. I'm gonna tell you something about black people and our survival strategy. We are diving headfirst into gallows humor, and we're gonna laugh at it all because it's that crazy. Like, these are people you could call it an escape room if it was a closet. Put them in a closet and turn on and off the light and be like, it's this escape room.
And they would never come out. They're never coming out until you open that door. Let me tell you.
We need to build a really big closet.
We really do. We really do.
That's what we need.
The other headline, Byron Donald's not surprised at snub from Trump's nearly all-white administration. No, not nearly all-white. Have you seen?
It's all white.
No, there's Vivek.
And Tim Scott got himself a whole white wife, and he got nothing. Byron Donald's got nothing.
No.
I mean, he can't. This is the thing. He has now risen to the level of first biscuit maker. So when you are making biscuits for the White House, that's all you can do.
I mean,
these biscuits have to be perfect, Stephanie. And he's going to make his original. Have you ever had his honey butter spread?
I have not.
It's delicious.
I'm told
it
it's
is
fantastic.
delicious.
Yeah.
His wife uses it on her skin. That's why she's so white.
Byron Donalds said, all I will say is I'm not surprised that I haven't been named, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to do other things in the future. Then the interviewer said, has he asked you? Donalds, no. What Donald Trump's election is about is bringing competency and reality and reality back to D.C. and the White House, making sure the job gets done on behalf of all the American people, regardless of their race, regardless of their religion, Right, so it's just a weird coincidence. There are actually, let me carry the 0 black people that have been appointed to anything so far.
What I love, I would love to walk up to him and go, "How's your back after toting all that water, dressing up like that man?" Followed up behind his diaper.
And you know what? It takes a lot of bravery to do that with tap shoes on, because tap shoes get slippery.
They do.
And he's just, the man what's his name? Savion? Making Savion look tired.
You can't ninja in tap shoes either, Angela.
You can't ninja. But this is my problem with this administration. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to get past WWE. Like, I just don't think I, as an adult human being who I've made my money on comedy, how y'all expect me to act right is beyond me.
All right, 20 minutes after the hour. Fridays with Frangela, brought to you.
called caught fish.
Lucretia in Milwaukee, you're on with Frangela. Hello, Lucretia.
Hi, yes. Good morning, ladies, and my condolences, if I may add. I just want to say it, and I just 2 minutes or less, if I may. What I kind of want to piggyback off of Karen the other day, and just let people, just the election. I actually put a TikTok video about this, and that I have like 3 nieces as part of the LGBTQ plus community, and niece number 2 is a lesbian, and when she told me that she's afraid to be with her girlfriend, that she's going to be harassed, I'm not trying to get emotional here, but it broke my heart, and I told her, I said, you know what, forget them. I said, you love who you love, and I'm glad we live in a city where it's very progressive, and just if we have like a holiday, like a weekend for Pride Fest and things like that. I told her, I said, if anyone messes with you, they got to go through me and your mom first. I said, don't give them an inch. Don't do that.
Yep,
and
absolutely.
the other thing, I talked with my dad, and that I said, I'm afraid, and for my boyfriend's afraid because of our race. I said, who the sisters say you may come across like a rogue cop, they'll take advantage of his job, and if he's like, if the president don't respect the law, why should I? And
Lucretia,
I'm scared.
Yeah,
really
well, you know
am.
what? We're all scared. This is the point like Mark Elias made about, Joe and Mika's cowardice. It's like we're all afraid. It's what you do with that fear. And, do not be afraid. Well, we've got to find our courage in each other, Frangela, because it's, we had somebody call last week that said they have a little 6-year-old, interracial child that said, are they going to kill me? Because, I heard Trump doesn't like black people. I mean, it's not just kids that are going to be scared. But I'm sorry, if like multimillionaires like Joe and Mika are modeling cowardice instead of courage, that's contagious too. So,
That's right.
I just your thoughts on how you talk to people about
Get angry. Get angry is my advice. And understand we need to be a stronger community. In the past, people out of good intentions have said, I don't want to speak before the brown or black person in the room, on when something goes down or if there's an issue. You need to speak first. You need to stand up and build a wall between people and the people who are trying to hurt, intimidate, degrade them. And if we do that, if we stand up to them as a united, hey, we all in this gang, we are a gang of righteousness, and do not let it go down.
And
Don't let it go down.
His first pick, Matt Gaetz, gone. You know what? We do have power. We have power. It's like he's an incompetent, bumbling idiot, as we all knew, and he's not the great and powerful Oz, so do not be afraid.
That's right. But he's the only member of the Munster family to get a job, so I appreciate that.
29 minutes after the hour, Fridays with Frangela.
parts in suspecting who is trans and who is cis and who's doing what. And so the idea that Nancy Mace wants little girls and women to drop trow in front of who? An investigator? Who would that be? In order, because she wants to suspect and point fingers at who she thinks is trans is disgusting.
Weirdos.
Yep.
Bunch of weirdos. Frangela, I was saying it's like the trans version of The Help. They should redo that movie. It's like, literally, Mike Johnson, you've got a perfectly good bathroom in your office that you can use. You don't need to use the bathroom that all the other regular people use. I mean,
I'm
it's
telling you. Look, I got an answer
disgusting.
to this. Francis and I would be happy to position ourselves at the male restrooms and make sure we check everyone.
Yep.
Now, we're going to have to measure.
Yes.
Because we want science.
Yes.
And so we're going to have to measure everybody's. We will be posting that information so everybody's clear that everybody in that bathroom has a penis. We're going to post it online and outside the door. We'll use visuals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Because we have to start fighting these things, all of us, not just the one person who it affect. Like
it's
and
bullying.
that's how you do it.
It's bullying, pure and simple. It's just mean.
Yeah, it is.
It's just mean.
It's pure bullying, and you can't be who you are. Knock it back. Get it back into the position that I expect you to be. I want you to be who I want you to be, not who you are.
Yeah.
I want her to set up a desk in the men's bathroom and do her work there. And so that sit there every day, just watch them go to the bathroom all day long. This is what you want?
Mm-hmm.
Let's give you what you want.
I mean, this just for a part, they keep saying this was only about the price of things. They're not going to do anything about this. The first thing they're doing is making sure one person can't use the bathroom at the Capitol.
Exactly it. We just talked about it on the final word yesterday. That the reality is we just had this huge election, and the first piece of business you could do on behalf of the people is to go after one person.
Yeah. And by the way,
you make a Department of Government Efficiency with two people for the same job.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest issue is how, do you combat when people believed a solid wall of lies? Let's talk about Project 2025. Trump's transition team has been using the Project 2025 database to begin filling the ranks of its political appointees for the next administration. He's already tapped several of the plan's architects to serve in key roles, and that now they're looking to fill lower profile positions with all of their recommended appointees. You remember during the election, Trump said, you read some of these things, they're seriously extreme, but I don't know anything about it. I don't want to know anything about it. I mean, how many times can a human being lie before you go, right? One analyst said, it's easy to say we told you so, but more importantly, we now know what they're going to do. So it's on Democrats to decide how to fight back, said Michigan State Senator Mallory McMorrow, which is exactly what I'm doing. I mean, that's all we can do now.
They gave us the playbook. Coach Wall said it. If nobody makes a playbook and then doesn't use it.
Right. I mean, Lara Trump just said Trump is not hell-bent on revenge and nobody should be afraid. His first pick was Matt Gaetz. I mean, right. She attributed concerns of retribution to what she described as widespread fear-mongering during the campaign, calling such attacks on...
Okay, we don't have to sit here and wonder and argue about what is and what is not going to happen. It's going to happen. And we don't need to spend this next... how many days is it? 60 or whatever days.
Yeah.
Going, well, he's not going to do this. Yes, he is. No, he's not. Because we just have to react to what he's doing.
That's exactly it.
Okay.
We have to have a response and not a reaction.
Yeah.
A reaction, that's what they want. They want us off balance, off our heels, and reacting, getting scared. Yes.
Tomorrow.
And for those people trying to make us feel powerless and like there's nothing we can do, well, guess what?
That's right.
Your first pick is already bye-bye.
Well, this is the thing, too. This is how black people have survived this country for centuries.
Yeah.
You can't look. If the sun will rise, the sun's going to rise tomorrow. Hopefully you will be there to see it. They're not going to take my joy. And I can't stop fighting because my very existence is a fight. Yeah. It's just I've always been in an adversarial stance with this nation that I love.
Yeah.
So the reality is you got to get up, think black, which is I'm not going to take nothing. Nobody going to talk to me about nothing. I'm going to do me, and I'm going to make sure that people are okay, and they can know.
You don't need to tell me this is the blackest hour in radio. I mean,
It is the blackest hour in radio. I don't even know why other black people talk during this hour. I really don't.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, so moving on to Pam Bondi, what do you call it? The Orlando Sentinel said, "Hi, America. If you want to understand why Trump likes Pam Bondi, know this. Complaints were filed about Trump University with attorney generals in 2 states. New York pursued it, got $25 million settlement. Trump gave Bondi $25,000, and she did nothing." Another journalist wrote, Trump's new pick for AG, Pam Bondi, was a registered lobbyist for the government of Qatar. Someone else tweeted the same Pam Bondi who let Jeffrey Epstein slide. One more, Trump makes sure to point out that she was the first female attorney general of Florida. I'm sorry, I thought acknowledging such things was an unforgivable sin and proof someone was selected because of DEI. Are the rules different now? I mean, how often do we have to hear that Kamala Harris is a DEI hire?
Yeah.
Right? And he has nominated the most unqualified people ever for a cabinet.
Well, dude, he did that before. What is Amy Coney Island? We trying to act like that's qualified?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's not new, but it's just, here we go again, where, she quite obviously took a bribe to not prosecute Trump University.
Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you, we just got to fight. We got to fight our fight and stop thinking about converting people. Yeah. Stop worrying about them waking up one morning and seeing the light.
Right.
They may and they may not. It should not change what we do.
That's right.
Yeah.
Darlene in San Antonio, you're on with Frangela. Hey, Darlene.
Hi, ladies.
Hi.
I was just wondering, I know this might sound a little far-fetched and a little goofy, but it seems that all of the blue states are the ones that have the highest educational numbers, that are sending more tax dollars back to the government.
Yes, but the red states have more.
The
red states have more STDs. Yeah. I just want to point that out. But go ahead.
Right, exactly. That's the only thing. So if the blue states were to get together as kind of a conglomerate and say, you know what, we're going to secede from the union. Living here in Texas, I am so sick and tired of hearing how they want to secede. If they don't get what they want, they're going to secede. And Florida started pulling the same BS. So we're not asking them to do anything except come to the table and work with us.
Yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie Taylor Greene says it all the time, casually. Like, let's have a civil war, or let's whatever. I mean, we'll take our fifth largest economy in the world here in California, and good luck.
Dude, you know what? Let me tell you something. This is the reason I thought about that. I think that it would give this man nothing but much pleasure to come and bomb this state.
Yeah.
Or any other city to show his power. That is why you don't step to them like that. That's
you know what? I gotta say that we've had this civil war, and because we didn't deal with the insurrectionists then, we have this problem now.
Yep. That's right.
And that's that. So by letting those people be back in government, by allowing them to have to build up the Klan and build up these structures, like the reality here is, I'm all for fighting back in whatever way makes sense.
And I assume that the no rings, no shoes rule is not
no.
Not
this fight we're gonna wear rings.
Okay.
This fight we're gonna wear rings. I'm over that. That was a pre-election offer.
I understand. The offer has expired. It has expired.
That's offer. Yeah.
Karen in Chicago. Karen in Chicago.
That's right. That's off the table. Hi, it's off the table now.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, we're
You know what we're calling this? That's the Black Friday sale. It's over. Yeah, you missed it. Sorry.
It's over. It is over. And
see what I did on the Blackest Show hour of the week. I said the Black Friday sale is over. You can't. Okay. All right, go ahead.
Look at you.
We have got to harness our anger. We cannot sit in despair and be depressed.
Yeah.
We have got to fight with everything we possibly can. And yes, we definitely have a white supremacy problem in this country. The same people who say that they voted for 45 because of the high cost of milk and eggs, but ignored the warnings about the upcoming tariffs and mass deportations that every economic expert said would tank our economy, and also simultaneously dismiss Kamala talking about addressing the costs, providing a $25,000 first time home buyers credit,
Yeah.
50K seed money for small business startups. So don't tell me this is about dollars and cents with these people. They are racist. They are misogynist. They are homophobic, xenophobic, transphobic. And Nancy Mace, if I ever meet that, listen,
Goodness.
she's sitting there, she's talking, going after this trans woman, okay? After they ran a campaign, an anti-trans campaign, to scapegoat a small minority of people in this country, making all of us have to fight to protect our children, protect ourselves, our community, okay? No, I am sorry. You cannot do that while simultaneously the head of your party, the man who you guys have been running cover for, and, you know, that Pam Bondi bee, who's in, you know, who covered up the Epstein situation. But here's the thing. This guy there's audio of Trump talking about going into girls' locker rooms, boggling teenage girls, and then talking about their bodies. And you guys are trying to tell us that trans women in bathrooms are the problem? What the hell are you doing in bathrooms?
Yeah, no, exactly. And by the way, Francis, I keep saying that, they say, oh, the culture wars, like, we didn't bring up the trans, they brought up the trans issue. So then when we're forced to defend someone, they're like, oh, then they run an ad. Kamala Harris is for they, them. Donald Trump's for you.
I'm going into every men's bathroom.
Yeah.
Do it.
And when people look at me, I'm going to be like, what? You want to check? You want to check me?
By the way,
you want to check me? Let's check me.
Again, speaking of the prices, housing, blah, blah, blah. Trump's popularity faces imminent peril in the form of a mounting housing crisis that his promised mass deportations, tax cuts, and tariff demands will only worsen, according to another Washington Post economist. His housing agenda includes a collection of ideas that will easily backfire. Mortgage rates might turn out to be Trump's Achilles heel. She said the housing crisis is real. Not only was it a top issue with voters all over the country, but in the toughest markets where home prices have often doubled in recent years and inventory remains low, voters swung to Trump. His election caused the bond market to spike mortgage rates as investors predict inflation will spur massive price hikes on materials needed to build homes. The argument that immigrants caused the housing shortage has been widely debunked. Even if Trump did conduct mass deportations, that would almost certainly make it more expensive and harder to rapidly build homes, as immigrants make up 1/4 of the workers in the construction industry. I mean,
there's no sanity to racism.
Thank you.
There's no, and this is the thing, like when people say that, it's what the motivator in this country is greed, I always say, Francis will tell you, I wish the motivator was greed, because greed you can understand. Greed makes sense. Racism cuts across all of that.
Yes.
It's poor white people fighting with rich white people to maintain rich white people's control of things.
Right.
Yep.
It's not that prices are high. It's that prices are high because of brown people.
That's right. And it's really the reason prices feel high is because your wages are too low.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not something that the president any president could fix with the economy or with inflation. What it's about is that wages are too low.
And let me just say this really quickly. What's going to happen? I keep on hearing people say, "Oh, you're going to see what happens when they deport the people who pick your fruits and vegetables, and and those jobs and what have you." What people don't understand is the economy can be so bad that you will beg to have that job.
Yeah.
That they will get rid of the people who are willing to do that job at that price at this time and make you become the people who do it, so that they get rid of them and devalue you too.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. They've already, Elon Musk and Bezos are already suing to get rid of the National Labor Review Board. And Trump isn't even in office yet. The National Labor Review Board keeps you safe. We've had to go to them for assistance when our union was collaborating with the people we were negotiating with.
Yeah.
So when they get rid of that, and when they try to attack and get rid of minimum wage and all these protections for you, trust me when I tell you, Francis is right. You're going to be begging for any job.
Did you guys make a complaint about the snacks I bring on Sexy Liberal? Was it you about the Oriental rice crackers?
Every week.
I did not want to contact the FDA, but Francis was right. Francis was right. They needed to stop you. I'm sorry about the search and seizure of your magazine covers.
Yeah,
Little mini magazine covers.
I call them shellac rocks.
All right. You know what? 40. Let's see. This is how it's going to be. 49 minutes after the hour. This portion. Hola, Carlos.
Hola. I was just figuring out what pillow I was going to take on our scooter van down to Mar-a-Lago to beg leniency. I have a Speed Racer pillow, and I also have an Iron Giant pillow, and I'm not sure which one to take.
I loved your thread or whatever it was. You said Donald Trump isn't for everyone. Just for the people whose takeaway from watching It's a Wonderful Life was that George Bailey was a loser and Mr. Potter was the good guy.
Yep.
It's true.
We're
all going to be living in Potterville now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Merry Christmas, liberals in jail.
Oh boy!
And again, yeah, this is to me.
Every
it's
time
like
a
these people
rapist
think,
gets appointed, another angel coughs up blood.
Yeah, another reference for you is that everybody thinks that the Grinch, just because he came to Christmas dinner and sliced the roast beef, is still a nice guy. No, the Grinch is still the Grinch. Trump's heart did not grow 3 sizes that day. His revenge.
He was
did.
just hungry.
The Grinch didn't hate Christmas. He just hated people.
Yeah,
that's different.
Yeah.
He hated people.
That's a year-long thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Year-round. Yeah.
Why are they not wearing patches on their ears?
You retweeted Andrew, who said, "Congratulations, everyone! New Brunswick measles outbreak spreads to 44 people, mostly unvaccinated children."
Yeah.
And now we have who's the other latest guy Grampy saw on the TV? Dr. Oz.
Yes.
Who you remember? He said, if we lose 2 to 3% of school kids,
It's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Just brush your teeth with raw milk from the Amish.
what is pasteurization has gone out of vogue now as well?
Yes.
Is that what's
Yeah.
happening? Yeah. And I was saying that taking fluoride out of the water helps you speak deedly better and helps it helps the vittles go in quicker, right?
Get that whistle and Seprazone. Seprazone.
Vittles is ready.
Seprazone. Vittles is ready.
Hey, little boy, got a treat made of
somebody said
popsicles.
you don't have to worry about vaccinations as long as your kids are vaccinated, but that's not the point. If more kids get sick at school, then it's a problem on the student body, on the curriculum, on teachers. Teachers could get sick. The scarcity of vaccines will become a problem.
Yeah.
Just God, follow the science.
Yeah. I gotta find the nickname for Bobby Jr. Something. It was something brainworm whale saw or something. I don't know. It's just every day gets more and more ridiculous. Yeah. Yes. It's just every day gets more ridiculous. This is why when anyone does anything that approaches journalism, I'm very happy.
I know.
Because did we just talk yesterday? Is it Oklahoma? They're literally, I believe they're 48th for
48th
education.
in
I think they're
education.
50th in testing.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
they want to put Bibles in the school because that'll...
Trump Bibles.
Trump Bibles.
Trump Bibles,
Yes.
correct.
Yeah.
Pamela Brown of CNN doing some bull.
The question, where is your authority specifically coming from? As you know, thousands of people, including parents who signed a petition to impeach you with more than 14,000 signatures at last check, say this is government overreach and you're taking control away from local parents, local school boards and parents over their kids. What do you say to that, and where is your authority coming from to enforce this prayer video to be played in schools?
You know, I appreciate you pushing that left-wing narrative here, but here's the reality.
It's
the
not a left-wing narrative. I'm literally talking about a petition that parents have signed that's gotten more than 14,000 signatures that have raised this issue.
It's clear on religious liberty. The Constitution's crystal clear on religious liberty.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, exactly.
It is. First of all, the Constitution is not crystal clear on that. It doesn't have God in it. There is this establishment clause in the First Amendment, which the Supreme Court has routinely said it requires the separation of church and state and public schools. There are many cases hold on, I'm speaking. There are many cases where the Supreme Court has routinely ruled on that. You went after woke teachers and the radical left in your announcement for attacking religious liberty, but your critics are saying that by requiring Bibles in every classroom and requiring this prayer video, you're trying to impose your religion on students in violation of the Establishment Clause. They say the Constitution, scholars say the Constitution is crystal clear on freedom of religion, not enforcing one religion, your religion, on students.
Boy, that's one gift Kamala Harris gave women everywhere. I'm speaking. Thank you.
Oh, man, he had the Dr. Strangelove his backhander in that interview. I want to hit her. I just want to swing at her.
Yes, and then she pointed out they're
Talk
placing
about Oklahoma history, because Oklahoma is 48th in the country when it comes to education. It's ranked 48th in the country.
after the hour. Have you heard this Bobby Kennedy audio? Hang on. Hold, please. Called, yes. Here we go.
The easiest thing for a politician to do is to appeal to fear.
No, yeah, 13. 13. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
you
call them a fear
write
monger.
so beautifully, and your stuff is so fun to read, but you write about Trump. Quote, the way that you build a truly vicious nationalist movement is to wed a relatively small core of belligerent idiots to a much larger group of opportunists and spineless fellow travelers whose primary function is to turn a blind eye to things. We may not have that many outright Nazis in America, but we have plenty of cowards and bootlickers, and once those fleshy dominoes start tumbling into the Trump camp, the game is up. When you talk about fleshy dominoes, Chris Christie comes to mind.
Oh my God! He
Oh,
ended
a
with
fat joke at the end. Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's Bobby Kennedy calling Trump everything we've called him, right? Hitler. I don't have time for all the audio, but he called people, his supporters, bootlickers. He called Trump a carnival barker, a Nazi. I mean, oh my God. Whether it's him or Joe and Mika, that's going to be the other story of our time. Is just this cowardice and hypocrisy in the face of fascism.
That's right. That is what people. You know what? History has given us the name of these people.
Mm-hmm.
They're called appeasers. That is what they do.
Yeah.
Look, when people joined the SS, right? They don't get to, after the World War II, go, it was about the economy. I didn't believe in all the camps that I worked at. It was the economy.
Yep.
Final word, idiot of the week, sexyliberal.com. Get tickets to the LA pay-per-view. Feel the joy again for the fight ahead. We love you, Frangela.
Yay!
We love